What up, Vandals, party people, and everybody else? This is a brand spanking new episode of the Pink Buzz, and we're back again with another really huge, really awesome scene celebrity in the comic book, upcoming comic book scene. Of course, I'm going to let him introduce himself like I always do. Welcome.
Hey, thanks. My name's Matt King. I'm certainly not a celebrity, but I take the compliment. Writer of Tales to Enlighten and Tales to Enlighten 2, the New Testament.
Very cool books, very awesome books.
Yes,
They're
yes.
pretty hefty too, man. They're nice, thick. You got what, 250 pages worth of story, and then you got a pretty thick pinup gallery too. About what, 60, 70 pages of pinups.
Yeah, so the first book I think is like 300 pages. It's got it's like 165 pages of James Edward Clark, the main story artist. We have a short backup story by Dave Gordon, and then we have I think 100 pinups in that first book.
Yeah,
and then the second book we almost did twice of everything. So it's 568 pages and another 100 pinups and a lot of crazy shit, man.
Yeah. And the second one, like the first one, you got James to do pretty much the whole story. Then the second one is kind of like almost like spin-offs, right, of the characters that were introduced in the first one. So it's more of an anthology kind of style with different artists for each little story arc for different characters, which is pretty cool because you got a lot of like pretty cool artists that I follow on Instagram. So that was kind of neat to read and go through and see like the different artists working on the different stories. And yeah, so that was pretty cool. That was fun.
Hell yeah. You're like me on Instagram. On your stories, you like share artwork from different artists you love and are inspired by and stuff. So that's exactly what I do, and that's where I found a lot of these guys. You know, the first book, like you said, the first book is like a self-contained story that James Edward Clark drew the whole thing, and then the second book is an anthology with like 32 artists. Total side stories, spin-off, secret origin kind of stuff that ties back into the first book.
Yeah. Ties up some little backstories and stuff that's kind of hinted at or touched on from the first book. Yeah,
featuring one of our friends of the show, like our first interview, actually, Schlepzig. We love Sam Blanchard here, and he did an incredible job on your book.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I mean, I'll say this about pretty much everybody you bring up, but like Sam's the nicest guy.
He's awesome.
He's a real cool dude, and I think we got in touch somehow on Instagram. I don't know whether it was I reached out to him or he reached out to me. I think he reached out and just said that he loved what we were doing with the first book and stuff, and then I instantly took that as, well, of course you want to work with me, right? Because my ego is huge. And I don't know. I somehow like tricked him into working for us. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Well, I think he did a pinup in the first volume.
He did. Right? He gave me a bunch of pinups, and I think we ran 2 in the print version and maybe a couple more in the PDF, the digital version. But his story, like a lot of them, the whole thing was all these like people like Sam Schlepzig. They were going to be backup stories for the first book. And I said, well, the book's already 300 pages. How big, I don't want to make a huge book. Let me move these to a second book and let me write a couple more stories. But I wrote way too much and it ended up with that huge book anyways. So, so Sam's story he had been working on, he started it and then, years ago, and then kind of developed his skills as an artist even more and came back and really killed it at the end. So.
Yeah,
he's a good dude.
Yeah, for sure. So man, like that's how I got to know you, was through your first Kickstarter. And I saw it and I was like, fuck, this looks really cool, like compared to a lot of the Kickstarters out there. I was like, this definitely fits like right into my lane. I was like, I dug it right away. And then after the Kickstarter was done, I didn't back it for some reason. I don't know if I'd saved it and was waiting till, I don't know. Anyway, I missed it. So then like I got in touch with you. I was like, dude, can I still buy it? And you're like, yeah, I have an Etsy page. So I went and got it off your Etsy page. So if anyone's interested, man,
in the description.
Right down in the description, we've got a link for Matt's shop on Etsy.
You
I
buy
think there's
all
still there's
PDF.
still yeah PDFs. I think you still have some physical copies left of the volume 1.
Yeah. I've got
so
about 100. I got a little bit over over 100 copies of the first volume still available. We
okay.
have that. We got the second volume. We've got these little zines that James made
Yeah,
up. I got a handful of those left. It's like a
that,
prologue zine, and then we did a
yeah,
couple other things for this latest Kickstarter. We did like this. It's like I call it a research zine, which is when I was writing the second book, I had went all in on buying all these 50s, 60s, 70s psychic magazines and UFO magazines, and it took a lot of artwork and articles and stuff from. Let's see, I always go the wrong way in the camera.
yeah,
um, but yeah, there's like it's like these really cool like photocopied zine stuff. So, but we got some
yeah.
of that. So, not too much. I only overprinted by a little bit for the Kickstarter. So whatever's there is there, and that's about it.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah. You have speaking of the zine art, you have another artist on the second your second volume, the New Testament, that we both follow on Instagram, who's pretty cool. His stuff's pretty cool. Is Officina Inferno. Like his stuff's pretty
oh
cool. Like I love it. He's got all that kind of zine Xerox type art. And actually, recently he's just been posting some of his actual illustration work. I think today he posted. Was it a cable picture or something? I don't remember which character it was, but he posted. And I was like, damn, he's got to do more illustration stuff too, because his illustration work's pretty goddamn nice as well.
So I just started seeing his illustration stuff about a week or two ago. I'd never
Mm-hmm.
seen any of it. It was all, as far as I knew, because I bought. He has like all these kind of photocopied, Photoshop with photocopy filters or whatever, however he does it.
Yeah.
Comics, but they're all in Italian. But I bought them anyway, so I have a dozen of those, and he did a dozen of them, and then he did what he called like a giant size one, and it's literally like 10 by 15 or something. It's huge. But yeah, he's great. He just reached out to me on Facebook, and he just got, that's how we got him involved. Is he just reached out to me, and I was like, yeah, I love what you're doing. He's like, can I get involved? I'm like, yes. So he
I love his
actually
stuff.
he actually wrote, I wrote almost everything in all these stories, but there are a couple like that one. He just presented it whole cloth and handed it to me,
That's cool.
So for fans that might not know yet, how would you kind of pitch the first Tales to Enlighten book, or like the universe in general, to new fans?
Say one more time. I'm sorry, I kind of lost you there.
The elevator pitch, like how would you kind of describe Tales to Enlighten for new fans?
Oh, how would I describe it? So the first book, it's the grandson of Satan and his best buddy, Manfred the Man Machine. They decide that a good idea to reach enlightenment, 666 superheroes, collect their heads, put it into a machine that Satan had that powers 2 tickets to enlightenment. And what they find out is enlightenment is a nightclub, like a metaphysical nightclub, and not actually, you've attained a new level. But he meets a sci-fi Jesus Christ there in the form of this character named Megatrip that wears like an Illuminati all-seeing eye pyramid on his head. Teaches him a lot of good stuff, and I think there's some good lessons in there amongst all the nonsense.
And the quest is awesome, because then it leads to a bunch of like parodies, right, of like classic characters and stuff like that. So there's a lot of winks to like a lot of these classic characters from Marvel and DC, which is awesome. It's fantastic. It adds like a great layer of humor throughout the book that otherwise would be pretty heavy, I think, in the content. But because of that, it adds such an interesting layer of humor that's just spot on too. Like, yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah,
it kind of reminded me if Monty Python did Alejandro Jodorowsky's Holy Mountain. It's kind of what the book reminded me of.
There's definitely some nods to all of that, But sure, I've been reading comics for like more than 40 years, so there's a lot of, like you said, winks and nods and Easter eggs in there of
A lot of
I
musical
mean,
stuff too. I mean, a lot of really cool
sure.
musical stuff.
Yeah. Yep. I'm a big music fan, so we work that stuff in too. So.
And I remember when the first volume came out, this project started much smaller, if I recall. It was just supposed to be like, you're supposed to do a riff on a Fantastic Four, I believe, right? Like,
so how it started was I followed James on Tumblr, and he posted some pages from a zine he did for somebody had commissioned him to do. I think it was an 8-page zine, maybe. I might be forgetting, but and I just was like, oh wait, because I've been buying commissions from him. He does these great pen, ink, and watercolor commissions for like cheap money. He'll draw anything you want. I mean,
$50.
definitely hit
$50. That's
you,
dirt cheap.
if you guys aren't, I mean, I know you guys are probably following him on Instagram, but if you to the listeners, if they're not following him, go follow James on Instagram. He's got a great deal. He'll draw anything you want for $50. Anyway, so I saw these zine pages he had done, and I was like, well, maybe we can create a whole comic like this, a whole 24 pages. And then so I wrote up a script, and he started drawing it, and then as he was drawing, I just kept adding more and more pages, and next thing I knew, it was 160 something pages long. But yeah, it was intended to be a Son of Satan, Machine Man kind of team up for 24 pages.
Yeah, like a one shot. Yeah.
Totally out of control. Yeah.
So then fast forward to like volume 2, which is like, I knew there's different artists. So like, boom, you start off, it's James opening up the first story. So I was wondering how many pages is he going to do in this one? Because I knew you had a bunch of different artists, right? So
right.
I was like, and I knew the first one was big. I was like, damn, like, but I didn't know at first volume 2, and I didn't know you had a bunch of artists. I was like, is James going to do another fucking like? I was like, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then when I found out you got a bunch of different people on board, I was like, oh, okay.
So, yeah, James has got a bunch of other projects of his own running. So, I was just happy that he came back to do even the first 4 pages, to kind of kick us off. It's a good, the book 1 ends, then he comes back and, introduces the kind of the, what do you call that? Like an intro thing where it sets the tone.
The introduction, where they find the box of comics, and then like each comic that he pulls out is one of the stories that's introduced into the volume. Yeah,
the framing device. Yeah. So the idea is they wake up the next morning on his DJ spaceship. They find a box of comics. They pull a comic out, and it opens it up, and that's the stories you see in this anthology.
That's pretty cool. I like the way you did that, like kind of to introduce all the other artists and stuff.
I mean, to be honest, that was my idea, but James, like, we both came up with that idea independently. My idea was going to be they went into the record store from the backup story in the first volume, and then they were going to find a box of comics, and the same thing was going to happen. James just came up with that 4 pages on his own too. You know what I mean? We had the same idea, but
similar idea, just a little bit.
He executed it a little bit differently, but it was cool that we were thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know. You guys should like have him on and talk about what he's doing, because he's got like a 5-issue graphic novel, Evil, that he finished, I think, even before Tales to Enlighten started in 2017, that he's going to put out on Kickstarter, and he just wound up another project of his own that he's going to be kickstarting. So he's got a lot of stuff coming down the line. If it'd be good, talk to him if maybe.
Nice.
Just an idea. Just an idea.
Love his style too, man. He's great. And man, if he's doing commissions for $50, he must be pretty proficient. Like, he must be quick, because to be able to pump those out like that, and his commissions are always open. I never see him say, "Oh my," like a lot of people like, "Oh, commissions closed." Like, he's got it constantly open. So, and I've seen him. He posts them online, and they're nice for like some people like mail it in right for $50, but no way, man. His shit's just as nice as what you see in his work that he posts for his books and stuff. So Yeah, it's definitely value for your money there.
I mean, he's a real student of life drawing and stuff. So, I mean, he really has it down to all the anatomy. I mean, it's just second nature, I'm sure, to him. You know, I mean, I can't really speak. I can't speak for him, even though I just did a whole bunch. But you know,
Yeah.
I think he's. You know, I'm his biggest fan. So whatever.
Well, just looking at this Coke Night thing that he did, like he nailed the Frank Miller aesthetic like perfectly. So
yes.
like if you're even looking for him to draw in other styles, I think he could probably pull it off pretty well. Just going off of what you see in this graphic novel, which is gorgeous. I mean, and it just
Thanks.
It just never stops with the visual barrages. I mean, like just look at how full this is. Look at all the expressions and just glorious. I mean, it is just a visually stunning graphic novel. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yeah.
I like to think that I gave him a lot to, you know, I gave, you know, when I say put Miles Davis, Chet Baker, and John Coltrane in a panel, they're playing music and destroying the enemy. I mean, hopefully that's fun for an artist, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like he enjoyed it. I mean, like, cause
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. It's glorious. Just looking at it.
Oh fuck, there's so many awesome pages from that first volume with his work. It's mind-blowing, some of the stuff he did. Yeah.
Speaking of the superhero spoofs, which one did you have the most fun like coming up with? Because there's a lot of really good ideas behind all of them. A lot of really kind of fun, silly stuff in there too. So like,
dude, they were all fun. You know, I mean, just a longtime fan of comics, to be able to take things like, you know, put a Batman and Robin kind of analog as like lizard creatures in bondage gear doing coke in the Batcave. I mean, that was a blast. You know, partying with Zatanna and a Wonder Woman character. You know,
yeah.
Fucking, come on.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Partying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, there was that was like the first parody, I think, in there, and then the second one was second chapter was like a Fantastic Four riff where they were all Cyclops, except for the Ben Grimm character had two eyes because of course he's ugly, so he's got two eyes, and you know, so we wrecked them, and then we just moved on to, you know, fuck with Captain America and everybody else. So
that was probably my favorite, man. The Great American, like,
yeah.
With the "Don't tread on me,"
the total
so good.
MAGA American, yes. Yep. He gets his in the end.
Yeah, and you actually have music. People can go listen to music, right? People have made like mixtapes or
there is a lot of cues to put on tracks to listen to while you're reading the scene, which is really cool about this book.
Yeah, well, that's two different things. Well, it's two different things. One, in the book, yeah, we like plug all, you know, we use lyrics and then I try to like denote what songs they are and stuff. But I think what Joe's talking about is during the Kickstarter, we to keep enthusiasm up, we'd release these mixtapes from different DJs I knew or whatever that had to do with. So I'm like a complete OCD. I saved all these clips dealing with religion and Buddhism and all this crazy shit. And I made this huge Google file folder with like 1,000 samples. And I gave them to all these DJs and said, use these and make mixtapes. So during the Kickstarter, we would release these mixtapes just to, you know, because you do really well in Kickstarter in that first week and the last week. But like in between, it's kind of like a crawl, you know. So to try to keep enthusiasm up, we'd release these mixtapes just to keep being able to email people and say, hey, you know, or put something on social media, or, you know, just try to drum up, you know, try to stay you know, keep your presence up, you know.
Yeah, you did the ads too, like with the old pictures where you plugged the book in, which was pretty cool.
So I had saved for years. I'd say ads of celebrities reading books and stuff, and then my brother and the other kid Travis, who did all my print work, like got all the files together for me. They did all these crazy ads of, you know, you'd have Batman reading a Tales to a volume of Tales Enlightened, or, you know, one of 1,000 strippers reading a Tale Enlightened, and just post that shit every day over and over and over.
Yeah, it's a good way, instead of just like retweeting like the Kickstarter like thumbnail page, you know, something different every time. It's interesting, it's fun, You know, like
because
yeah,
because people get immune to it after a while. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like if you keep
yeah,
posting the same thing over and over, a cover of the book and say on Kickstarter now, it's like people get
yeah,
tired of that. You know, so
yeah, yeah. I
just
thought that was
try to
fun.
jazz it
That
up.
was yeah, that was another fun thing you did with the mixtapes. You did that. That was good stuff, man. I really enjoyed. I was looking forward to it. Like I don't know if you did it every day. Was it every day you did a new one,
Oh
or
yeah, oh yeah.
pretty
Oh,
much? Yeah.
on the mixtapes,
No,
the
the
ad.
like
Oh yeah.
the drop in, yeah,
Oh
books and
yeah,
stuff.
like
Yeah, yeah.
five. I think I was posting 5 times a day. You know,
Okay, yeah.
because one, it's either you back my book and because you like what we're doing and you don't mind seeing it, or the algorithm doesn't let everybody see it. So if they see it once, then maybe that maybe I'll get
Hmm.
that sale, maybe not.
Yeah.
But you know, so either you post a lot and people don't care because they like what you're doing, or why are they going to follow you if they don't like what you're doing? So
Which is pretty
you
cool
know.
because there is a lot of philosophy in the book. Like there's a really, really kind of long scene like in the middle where you drop a lot of wisdom in this book. And I was just wondering like how you got involved in all that. Like did you take courses in school or was it just something you found out on your own?
No, that's just something that interests me. My girl's got a whole bunch of kind of Zen Buddhist books here, and I would read her stuff, and it just I found it interesting, So, and I'm pretty anti-organized religion because I think it's all a fleece. But the underlying theme is just don't be a dickhead, and I think we all can agree with that, no? So,
Yeah. And that I love the morality of the book because you made that so ever clear that like you could be all where from whatever background, but like the key component is just don't be a piece of shit. Try to be positive in the world as much as you can, and I love that about it. You know what I mean? It was a very kind of like hardcore punk aesthetic as well. I kind of felt, even though like you dropped some really really solid philosophy in the book though, which I really dug.
thanks. So, I mean, it was tricky to get all the stupid nonsense in there and also have like some sort of message at the same time. But hopefully it worked for most people. Some people I know it was like too wordy or whatever, but hey man, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and I just
Yeah.
kind of put my money where my mouth is, and made it happen. It's like my buddy razzes me all the time that the corniest movie ever, Flashdance, has got the theme song and it says "Take your passion and make it happen." So it's like, dude, I like comics, so let's make a comic.
Yeah. Awesome. I just want to give a quick shout out to Cookie in the chats, and we've got Tony, man. Tony's in the chats. He's one of the artists on the second volume. Tony Sedani.
Tony Sedani.
Sedani.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in the
Yep.
chats, man. Yeah, yeah.
So Tony got involved right away with his story was the Coke Knight story, the backup
Yeah.
in volume 2. It was supposed to be in volume 1, so his was the first backup story that was completed.
Okay.
Like in 20, I mean, if you look at the date on the art, it says 2017, and we just got it out,
2017.
we just got it out this year. But
Yeah.
yeah, he came. I met him at Boston Comic Con. He's he's local to me. Basically, we live in the same state. But yeah, absolutely good kid. He's got a whole good crew. His buddy Ryan Miller also did a story for us, and another buddy of theirs. They're all in like a collective stockpile comics. Joe Daxberger did some letters and a pinup, and his other buddy Joel Lolar helped out with some logos and stuff. And it's a real, collaborated with a whole lot of people, and I really enjoy, really loved seeing what can come out of a collaboration.
Yeah.
Tony's one of the few artists in the book that had a second story too. He after he finished the first story, and then a year or two went by, and he messaged me, and he said he was reading a lot of Doctor Strange, and like we should do a Doctor Strange story. And I was like, I don't have any ideas for that offhand. And then like maybe another year went by, and I was like, hey, let's do this crazy occult Doctor Strange with like a real eyeball in his chest and
In
shit.
his
So
chest. Yeah.
yeah, so he's got a second story in there with that character. So
That's cool. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There's so many crazy characters in this book. That's what makes it a lot of fun too, right?
But that's
Like,
what I mean about a collaboration. That the whole Doctor Strange, like even character, didn't even occur to me. That was like his idea to do that character.
To bring it
So
in, yeah.
so I wrote that story, for him. And it, that's the beauty of a collaboration in an art form like this,
Yeah. See, that's why Johnny, I knew you like live around the Boston area. That's why like this book has like it swims in religion, right? So I was like, man, I was wondering like Boston, a lot of people are raised Catholic. So I was like, maybe you're raised Catholic, so that influenced a lot of like why the book is based on like that kind of stuff. So yeah.
I definitely did some church. I'm as a Protestant, but
Okay.
it's just, dude, the message is fine. Be nice to people. I don't need someone fleecing me for money or a lot of bullshit hypocrisy in religion. Most religious people don't want immigrants here or whatever. It's like, fuck off. So. I'm just sort of anti-organized religion. You mean as long as it doesn't infringe on what I believe, what I want to do with my life, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't knock on my door. I don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't expect me to be it too, but like if you are and we could be cool, I got you.
That's it.
That's pretty much my philosophy with everything.
Hell yeah.
You believe in something, you believe in it strongly, but once you start preaching to me, I'm like, man, my eyes are gonna glaze over and you're gonna lose me, man. It's like, It's cool. I respect it. You want to do that? I'll respect it. I'm cool, but don't start trying to like preach to me and like fucking convert me into something, or like that's where I'm like, dude, just live your life. I'll live mine. We can be friends. I don't have to be like you to be friends with you. We can be our own separate people and just get along, and
right.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so some other artists you got on that second volume. We talked about Schlepzig. You had Oleg Green, man. He did a great story with the Hitler story.
Dude, that guy is a monster.
Oh man,
that's kind of like our main first story, and I think it's probably the longest story in the book. It's like 30 plus pages. But yeah, it's a time travel story where. So in the first book, Jesus defeats Satan by like shooting fire, breathing sperm on him. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of sperm fucking that it's collected, and they make clones of Jesus. And so we did like so Oleg's story is like a Newsboy Legion kind of story where it's like little kids, they're made from the DNA of Jesus. So. It's like they go back to World War II. Hitler end up surviving his suicide, and he wants to be the new Satan, but these kids like have to stop him. So yeah, Oleg's great.
Oh yeah, man, that demon Hitler monster that he. Oh,
dude, I'd love to work with him. I'd love to work with him again, but he's still in Russia, and with sanctions and stuff, I can't even pay the kid to like work again. You know what I mean? So I know. Yeah, he's incredible, man. I mean, I found him through, he had an issue called Raw Draw from Bloody Gore Comics, which is Steph Dumas. Do you know the kid I'm talking about?
Steph Dumas. He just finished up Kingdom, Slaughtered Kingdom.
Yes. He did a pinup for us in the second book. Really nice guy, but he put out Oleg's book. That's where I found him. And I had messaged Steph, and I was, to get his info and stuff.
Yeah, Steph's a good guy. I backed his other book there. Yeah.
I've got a couple of his things,
Yeah.
Over the years.
Stuff. Yeah.
The thing with backing Kickstarters now is just the international, the international shipping.
Yeah, I do PDFs now, man. I can't afford to back physical books anymore unless it's within country. It's fine, but as soon as you cross a border, it's.
I heard even Canada to Canada is brutal for you guys right now.
Yeah, well, the unions are really strong with our postal service, so so it keeps the fees high because people have good retirement plans and stuff, which is fine. Like
living wage, sure.
Yeah, it's still pretty high, but as soon as you cross that border, like a $5 comic, you're paying $15 in shipping, right? It's like, god damn, it's 3 times more than the book itself. It's
Who's
brutal.
selling $5 comics on Kickstarter nowadays? That's my other problem. And they want $25 for a floppy, and then they don't even bag or board it. They just throw it in an envelope and send it to you nowadays. I've had so many come dinged and like they ghost you. They won't even talk to you now if your comic comes destroyed because they just threw it in an envelope. So yeah, Kickstarter's kind of like really losing its reputation, in my opinion, at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I could start a whole nother podcast about damaged comics in the mail. I mean, nothing irritates me more.
Yeah.
But yeah, these books are almost just under £4, the second books. So I think when I mailed, James is up in Canada too. So when I mailed his, I think it was like $45 just to mail it from me to him, for US, it's brutal.
40 US. Yeah, it is brutal.
Damn. I mean, there's a couple I had to go to. A couple went to Australia that were over like $80 and stuff,
Yeah, it's nice that you have it as digital on your Etsy, man. So yeah, I mean that's a great, like, I appreciate, like, a lot of people are old school and they're like, no, I won't, I refuse to do digital. Like, they're so like old school, like it's got to be, if you want it.
He will not.
Yeah. But man, I'd miss out on so much if people didn't go digital, right?
Well, I'm in business to sell a book, so I mean, of course, I'll sell it digital, but I don't buy them digital. I'll either buy it physical or I just can't swing it. I just don't want to look at it on the screen. But yeah, I mean, there was a couple people, and so we have one artist, ENIAC from Slovakia.
Yep. Okay.
He's so good, but a couple of his fans bought books, so I had to ship stuff to Slovakia. And I think one person bought book 1 and 2, and just the weight of it was like $120 to ship it, and then it was like when they got it delivered, I believe their country also imposed like fees on them to like yeah. So I mean, nobody said shit, but I can't believe it. I thought I was gonna get a whole like bunch of shit, like, I mean, I had to pay another $50 on top of everything else, but
yeah,
everybody was cool.
And that's such a ripoff. Every time I order something and they ship it UPS, every time it's UPS, it gets held with, I got fees, right? Border fees or duty. And like one time they called me, I ordered some vinyl, and it, or was it vinyl or some comics? Maybe it was some comics. And it came in, and the comics were like maybe $60 worth, $50 or $60 worth of comics. And they wanted to charge me $50, $60 worth of of fees. And I was like, dude, that's more than, like, I called them up because, they hold it there till I call them up and pay them, right? So I'm like, he's like, oh, it's 50. I was like, dude, that's more than what the fucking books are worth, because it cost me 60, but that was with shipping. So I was like, the books are probably worth like 35 to 40, and if that's the case, then how does 30 sound? I can give you a discount right away without, boom, they dropped the price to 3. I was like, this is such a fucking scam. It's such a fucking scam. He just drops the price by $20 just like that right there. It's like, so anytime I order stuff and I see they use UPS, I just don't fucking bother anymore. Like, I don't know. I just always had problems with them anytime I get something shipped with UPS.
That's never happened. That's never happened to me in the US. They didn't impose any sort of tariffs or fees or anything. So I haven't experienced that, but like, for sure, if they just on the phone and you're just like, well, it's only worth 30. Okay, how about you just give us arbitrary amount? That's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I was like, you bunch of fuckers. Right away, I was like, you bunch of crooks, man. It's fucking horrible. Because they won't get their money, and then they have to send it back, and and on top of that, they had all my information. It was a girl from the comic shop where I ordered it. She got in touch with me. She's like, did UPS call you? I was like, no. Well, they sent me a message saying they have your books, and should they send it back to me? I was like, did you call him? They're like, no, we didn't contact him. She's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. It's so disorganized. It's so discouraging.
That's crazy.
They charge you all this money, and they're so fucking incompetent. It's insane.
I took off international shipping on my Etsy store. So if somebody like from overseas or even Canada wants it, they have to like really reach out to me and be like, yes, I'm really willing to pay this, because I kept getting beat on the shipping. Like the shipping cost just kept going up, and I wasn't keeping up with my Etsy listing or
Oh,
whatever. So,
okay. Yeah.
but I mean, I will send it out, but it's just like I don't encourage it. I'd rather them get a PDF and whatever. But
Yeah.
which I feel bad, because I'm such a like physical media snob myself
Yeah.
that like I could just see if someone did that to me, I'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
shipping notwithstanding, though, I mean, you get a really good deal for these books. I mean, for the price point and how big they are, I mean, it's a deal in my opinion.
Yeah, dude, these are 568 pages, you know.
They're New York phone books, bro. I mean,
it's actually, you know, when I was putting it together, I really debated about breaking the second book up into two. But like I had said, some of these stories were done years ago, and I just felt like, what am I gonna like, you know, because I'd have to curate which belonged in one book and what belonged in another book. I was like, what am I gonna tell somebody that finished a story in 2018 that it's not gonna come out to 2024 now? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I was just like, just get it out, and it's definitely hurt me on sales, because people go to the Etsy store and see such a high price for, you know, a graphic novel. But if you break it down per page, I get it; it's totally worth it. But like, it still is
But
sticker shock when you
yeah,
see it, you know.
that's the way I go. I go on Kickstarter and I do like page, right? I look at the price. I was like, okay, first thing I do is how many pages and what's the price? And right there, I break it down. Okay. And I have like a price point per page. And if it meets anywhere near that, I'm like, all right, this is, you get, you know, it's pretty good. But sometimes, like Johnny was saying, you see like a 22 page, 24 page comic and they want like $15 for it. You're like, God damn, man. It's
I've
like,
gotten to the point. I've gotten to the point where it's like $10 is all I'll pay for a single issue, you
yeah,
know, without without a whole bunch of extra pages, unless it's like somebody, if, you know, if it's a Shaky Kane book, like I'm paying
yeah,
no matter
yeah,
what it is, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
you know, I'm not going to talk shit about these people, because you know the dream is to get picked up by a publisher, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, that Shaky Kane book, Weird Work,
Yeah.
yeah,
Which
with
just
yeah, so
Image
that
picked it
just
up. Yeah.
exactly. So you can buy it for $4 an issue now, instead of what I paid, you know, $10 or $15 an issue plus shipping in from the UK times 3 issues. So
Yeah.
I would have gotten
um,
it for a hell of a lot cheaper if I waited. But you never know if that shit's gonna happen, you know.
Gonna happen. Yeah.
plus the Metallic Dynamite graphic novel with the Weird Work story in it, and I had to get that too. So yeah,
I got that too. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Anything Shaky Kane, I'm on board for. I mean, to have Shaky Kane in the second book is just like a dream come true, man. Like, yeah, there you go.
what? Yeah, man.
Yeah, he rules. Yep, that's a good. I actually have 2 copies of that over
Two
here.
copies of
Like,
this one. Yeah.
yeah.
So you wear it out, you know,
Well,
one for reading.
what happened was my local comic shop, they didn't have it the week it was released, but I had like pre-ordered it, so I went and bought it somewhere else, and then
It came
they
in.
got, yeah, and I just, you know, I have to live up to my responsibilities as a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pre-ordering books, so I
Yeah.
have 2. So for some reason I've got 2 copies of it. Yeah.
And I love it. It's like a little larger. Like it's a bigger format. So
Right.
that's pretty cool. That was a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And
And he does a story in the second volume as well. So any Shaky fans, man, he's got a story. What's it called? Face Off. No, not Face Off. That's Ryan's story. Shaky story is.
it's that
Oh yeah.
Buddhist saying for the Manjushri.
Oro,
Yeah.
Orama Pakakana D, whatever. Yeah, he does one of the stories in there. So any Shaky fans, man, he's got a story in there. So that's, you got like a little bit of a who's who of like guys that are working in like the indie comic scene right now. You know,
Right. So we have
people that are popping off. Yeah.
yeah. So we have like 32 short stories, and you know, some of them are like Shaky Kane or Erwin Papa, that are, you know, like
Irwin. Yeah,
great indie artists and stuff. And some of them I just found literally on Instagram. You know, I was like the that kid Adon Vasquez, who does that story. I think it's called Fight on Burrito Beach. It's like a Bruce Timm sort of look to it towards the end of the book there. He'd never done sequential art before, but like he killed it, you know. He's somebody that I found on Tumblr years ago and wanted to work with him, and he wasn't confident in his abilities. And then he didn't even want to do a commission for me, like a pinup commission or anything. So
Oh shit.
it went a few years, and then he popped up on Instagram. I was like, how about now? And he was like, okay, I'll try. And he did great, you know? And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
my other buddy says it's like the UN of indie comics because, you know, Adon's from Mexico and Oleg's from Russia and ENIAC's from Slovakia. It's like I have people from Indonesia and all over the place, you know?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And like on Instagram, man, you share a lot of people's work. Like it's some days I'll go on and your story's got like fucking 20. You got like 20 different. Yeah, that's it. I'm like, holy shit, man.
Dude, if it's
And
somebody I like and it's a piece that I like, you know, I
yeah.
totally want to share it with everybody, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, there's so
Yeah,
many good. It doesn't take any effort for me to, you know, it takes 2 seconds. You know what I mean? And if I can, like, from you, I've learned about, you know, Tricovi. I learned from you. You know what I mean? That's how I came across it. Or the Metalhead
Same.
Samurai. I learned it from you. You know?
Yeah, same. I get like a few things from you here and there, and like what's that one? What's his name? Wormrot. Rotworks. His work is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
great stuff. The former singer for Wormrot, man, he does some stuff, man. I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but shit, his stuff blows my mind. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of incredible artists out there, and like I said, it takes me no effort to on my personal Instagram to share, you know, something that I dig, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So
let's go and see. There's who's the other one? Who was the other one, Johnny? I told you. There's Bill Couture. His stuff is fantastic. That page where, man, his splash pages in this one are fucking mind blowing. It's insane.
I met him. A buddy of mine went to the last Boston Comic Con before it became Fan Expo. It was the first year I didn't have to work the show. I just went as like a fan, and Bill was set up there, and he had a booth that had like some posters with like that kind of coloring, that crazy eye-grabbing color that like I saw from across, you know, coming down the artist alley. I was like, who is this kid, man? So I went over and talked to him, and he, you know, it was a great pleasure to work with him. But one of the joys of Bill is he is just absolutely brimming with ideas. I don't know if you follow him. If you follow him, he has like, I think right now he's got like a King Kong in outer space kind of thing going on. He gets obsessed with different things. Like he just got obsessed with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a few weeks ago, and he did like this whole crazy backstory about these turtle toys and stuff. He's just like crazy in the best way, you know. He's just brimming with ideas, you know. So he was great to work with, you know. Another kid that had really never done any comics, and still. And I harass him all the time. Like he still like really doesn't, you know, he draws on Instagram all the time, but he doesn't really put any comics out or anything.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not always easy, right? You gotta, and you know how it is. You've done a Kickstarter, right? So like if you want to do the Kickstarter thing, it's a lot of work, especially after, you know, like the shipping, the getting everything packed. I mean, some people just don't want to deal with that, right? They want to draw, put it out. It's easy. Just put it on Instagram, let people see it. They don't have to deal with like printing, selling. People order something, you got to ship it. You know, some people just aren't into that.
Yep.
Like the fulfillment side of it, right? It's just they can't do it.
I have like a perverse pleasure that I get out of fulfilling orders. Like I had all my shipping materials lined up for weeks waiting for these books to arrive. And you know, I got all my orders out like 250. In the second book, it was like 250 or 270 orders out in 5 days. You know, I was just like absolute machining it, you know, but I can totally see someone that's a full-time artist that doesn't want to deal with that kind of shit. You know, I get it. But when I get an order, man, I run right downstairs and pack it up and run back to my girls like, you're crazy. Like nobody else just jumped up from the computer and ran downstairs to pack a book and then print the postage and put it out by the mailbox immediately. Like nobody does that.
I think that's a thing that a lot of people need to do is be able to print out, like for the postage and stuff. That saves a lot of time. I think I've heard a few people talk about that, and they're like, it keeps me sane. Like, like.
So I was having a problem with my stamps.com where it wasn't printing my international orders, and I had to hand fill out all those, all the custom forms and take them to the post office. And each one when I got to the front of the line would take literally, because they would take your form and then they enter all the information like while you're standing there, and the line behind you is like Bernie Wrightson cover where they all have the pitchforks and the torches.
Yeah.
So
your enemy number one, like they have your fucking picture up in the back office of the post office. When you walk in, they're like, "Oh fuck, this guy again."
I would only take like 2 in the morning, and then I would be like, I'll go home and do the custom form. And then I was like, this is taking way too long. And I had a day off, and I went to 7 different post offices in one day. Yeah. I just went from one town to the next town to the next town, and like got it done.
I've heard of guys doing that. Yeah, they have like 3 or 4, like you said, 5. Like when they have a lot of stuff, they'll go to like 4 or 5 different ones just to like for the lineups and stuff, just so that they don't become a nuisance and people hate them and stuff.
Dude,
they had like this routine.
I would get to the front of the line and see if there was like 1 or 2 people behind me. I was like, oh, just go ahead. I'm going to be here for a while. But eventually you have to be the guy that holds up the line. But most people probably don't. Most people don't even care. Not the people in line. I mean, most people don't like I shouldn't care. I'm a customer or whatever.
But exactly. Yeah.
I'm still like, oh my God, I fucking feel so bad.
Yeah, man. So, do you have any plans to do a 3rd volume, or is this pretty much it for Tales to Enlighten?
I basically told everybody over the whole last year that this was it. I was officially retired. I would, I've lost too much money making these books, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just too much general stress, but I did write a 3rd volume, which is like a single story. I didn't actually write the script, but I have it all out on note cards and by scenes and panel and everything. Like I have it all on cards. And then I kind of just put that aside for the last 6 months, and I started writing a new project. So whether any of these things get done or whether that was it, I don't know. But that could very well be it for me. I don't know. If I do anything else, it will have to be because all these I paid it. Like James, I paid page rate after every page he finished. I PayPal him the money. And in the second book, a lot of people same thing. But people like Tony and Ryan that are friends of mine, they did it for nothing, just like they wanted to be involved, which I mean, I can't like thank these guys enough. But and then some people like totally did it on discounts, and Schlepzig did it for nothing, like. So there's a lot of work in there that I feel halfway guilty about that they didn't get paid, but
yeah.
I just, I hope they know how thankful I am. It's like, I didn't get, like, I haven't made a dime on any of this shit, but, maybe if I sell through all these, I'll break even someday. We'll see. Yeah. But again, the idea wasn't to get rich or, even make money. It was to make something, and
put
get
it out there.
Yeah. And that's what we did. And I'm really proud of, and the production, everything came out, spot on. I'm really very pleased with how these books ended up. But, so if there's any more work, Tales to Enlighten or anything else, I don't know. It would have to come out in maybe issues, like a 5-issue series.
Yeah,
and
like
then collect it and collect it at the end. Something like that. I don't.
Yeah, that's what most Kickstarter guys.
I can't do it. Just
put it out.
It's. Yeah, but I don't know. Never say never, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hey man, we all appreciate it because those 2 books were fantastic, fun to read. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks so. I mean, anyone that gets the book, you see when they post it, they're like, "Fuck, this was stellar, man. It's so fantastic, right? So yeah, so like just remind everyone, man, that we're talking to Matt King, the writer of Tales to Enlighten. If you go down on the bottom here, you have a link to his Etsy, man. Go buy his book. It's awesome. It's you got volume 1 and 2. And if you're not rich, just get the first volume, read that, and I guarantee you after reading that you're going to be like, fuck, you'll want more. So I'm sure not too long after you'll come back to his shop and get volume 2. So
Thanks,
yeah.
dude. The digital copies have a couple hundred extra pages than the print volumes too, where we could
Some process stuff and
there's a ton of process stuff and like extra pinups. Like I put 100 pinups in each book, but it just couldn't fit everything in that people sent me. That's Daniel White, man. He is so good. Dude, I mean, I could go. I haven't talked about any of the artists that are in this book, really. We talked about such a small amount. I mean, just the talent involved just it's humbling, to me, that these people would want to even like work with me because I'd never written anything before. Like this was it.
This was your first first go.
This is how my career started. Yes.
So you decided to go whole hog right off the bat, man.
That's it. Everybody said
short or nothing. Damn.
Everybody says don't start with like your magnum opus and stuff, and I was like, fuck that, let's go. So we did it.
Well, you hit up a great artist for the first volume to get you going.
James is so great.
Yeah. So man, that's fantastic. Like I said, when that first Kickstarter, it grabbed my attention right away. I was like, fuck, that's a great
and great little wink and nods all over it, man.
Yeah. The Fantastic Four / Akira nod. Yeah.
Yeah. So on Instagram, I see you post quite a bit of manga as well, man. You're a pretty avid manga reader from what I see in the posts.
Dude, I like to read comics in general, but like DC absolutely bores me to tears, and most everything Marvel puts out, same. Like I can. Image books, there's some good image books for sure. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of good things I'm missing, but manga has been it's been fun to read, lately. So the last few years I've been buying a bunch. And I read Urasawa's Pluto was absolutely amazing. I don't know if you read that. It's take on Astro Boy. It was like
I have the first couple books of it.
Yeah. So they kind of say it's like the Dark Knight of Astro Boy. It takes it into a much more serious adult sort of take on Astro Boy. But that was a great book.
Is that put out by Titan?
No,
I think it's Viz.
Viz, it does it.
Yeah, but I heard there's an Astro prequel for an Astro Boy story, and I think Titan.
I think Titan is doing something right now, right? I think I did see that.
Is it an Americanized one though? Because they kind of do that sometimes. Like I remember, Boom did a Cyborg 009 graphic novel a couple years back. I guess Arcana, but that's Boom, in my opinion. It's the same company.
Yeah.
Because
I know Johnny reads quite a bit. I don't read as much as Johnny, not even close as much manga. I just read a little bit. So that's why when I saw, I was like, oh, Johnny, man, I know Matt reads quite a bit of manga. Johnny's just itching to do a manga episode. And
what are you reading, Johnny?
Give me,
I like Q Hayashida a lot. She did Dorohedoro and
Die Dark.
Yeah, Die Dark.
Yeah.
And I like go ahead.
I just said volume 5 just arrived here in the mail today for me. So
I'm a little behind because Viz does this thing where like they kind of put the books out in orderly fashion, and then towards like after they get to like volume 5, they really kind of hit the skids, and you got to wait like a year or two between them. And that kind of killed me when I was doing Dorohedoro, because at first I got like the first 8 books and like I was loving it, but then I had to wait for the next one to come out, and that kills me because it's even worse than waiting for American trades to come out, in my opinion. And I'm not good at waiting.
Right. I have all 22 volumes of Dorohedoro up there. Is it 22?
Yeah, man. 23.
Or 23. 23 volumes, yeah. So like right up there on that top shelf there.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, like that.
The full run.
Yeah.
All the glorious colors, man.
So I'll be honest, I've only read the first couple volumes, and I have to sit down and reread those first couple volumes and then go all the way through it. So I haven't read all that, but it looks amazing, and I just kept up with buying it.
I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Going off of Tales to Enlighten, yeah, it's some similar subject matters going on with the magic type
Oh,
stuff
cool.
and the sexuality a bit. It's not quite as raunchy as yours, but it's got its moments. Like,
Cool. I've the Die Dark. I've been loving that. So I have.
yeah, she just gets better and better. Her art is just so radical.
Yeah, I read that. What else have I been reading?
What's that gun one?
Chain. Oh,
No Gun
Guns?
Life?
No Guns
Gun
Life.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you been liking that one?
That was good. It wasn't fantastic. I mean, the art was amazing, but
The
the
side
story,
characters kind of kill it, right? Like, it would be a lot better if it was just about the dude. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The art was killer, but I mean, I enjoyed reading that. I'm reading that Record of Ragnarok right now, which is
Okay.
that's basically the gods are like, well, humanity's pretty much sucks, and we want to end it, and the humans are like, well, we'll fight you for it, and they have like a tournament where like Zeus will fight Adam of Adam and Eve, or Hercules fights Jack the Ripper. It's like this, but it's crazy.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, but each volume is almost like one long fight. So I mean, there's not a lot to it, but like it's fun,
See, the most recently, I think this is the one I've read most recently. The Crazy Food Truck.
Crazy Food Truck. I read the first two and there's only 3, right?
I've only read the first one, so I have no clue how many volumes are out. But
I ended up giving my copy to a buddy of mine at the comic store. Like, it was okay, but I just was like, dude, I spend so much on comics. It's like, if it's not gonna really, if I'm not 100% into it, I don't like keep going.
So yeah, I wasn't sure. I read the first one. I was like, okay, it depends where they go. Like,
right.
There's some stuff there that was kind of interesting, a little bit funny, but for some reason, my comic shop usually they'll automatically keep getting me the volumes, but for some reason that one they just didn't get me the other volumes as they came in. And one that I actually signed up to Viz, so I got the first volume of Kaiju 8.
I read the first volume.
Then I read the rest on just on the app. Like, I kind of more or less kept up. I'm maybe more than halfway through what's there on the app, and it's not bad. It's pretty good. I mean,
I heard the app is like a really great deal. Like, isn't it a very low subscription rate?
$2-3, something like that. And there's new chapters coming out like crazy. Like, I think they got the entirety of Chainsaw Man. A lot of stuff you have to pay for. It's not included. But what is there? There's a tons. Like, I think they have all the Death Note. So if you haven't hit Death Note, they have pretty much all that series on there. They've got a lot of stuff. But there's other stuff they don't have. I don't know if it's because I'm in Canada, so it's weird here. We don't like.
Yeah, didn't they do that thing where they only had they didn't have the first arc of Dora Hedora, but they had all the rest, right? So like,
yeah, it was weird. Volume 1.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
But I found a loophole around it. So what I did was I went online to ziv.com, the US site, bought it and paid American, and then I can open it with the app for some reason.
Oh.
It doesn't show up on the app. Like, when I search it, it doesn't come up. Like, I can't buy it there, but I went online, and then it shows up in my library because I logged in on .com, and then that's the way I found a loophole around buying it. If it's not on the app, then I went online and bought it that way, and it showed up. So I was like, oh shit, all right.
How weird.
It is weird. Yeah. So
are you reading the Fist of the North Star stuff has been reprinted?
I've been getting some of it. Yeah, I got the first couple because I'm a pretty big fan of that property, and I've been dying for English, a full English translation, because they've tried a few times and they put a few volumes out here or there from a couple different publishers. But it's good that Viz is finally doing it, and they're doing it with those glorious hardcovers like they did with JoJo. I'm kind of hoping
It's
they
a
do a
real
new
nice.
anime for it too. Like,
It's a real nice presentation. It's a nice book. Like to hold. Nice hardcover.
Last was it last Christmas? I bought the anniversary box set for Akira.
Oh yeah,
And
I got that
I
over
read
there.
through that. Damn, I read through that so fast, but I haven't read volume 6. Like, I think I blasted through the first 5 volumes in like less than a month. And then I just can't bring myself to read volume 6 because then it's over. So I've left volume 6. I haven't read it. And I want to read it, but I don't want to read it because then it's like it's done, right? So I don't know.
You're just like this kid at work I work with. He won't watch the last couple episodes of Better Call Saul. I won't watch the last couple episodes of
yeah.
any show that I want to talk about. He's like, oh, I haven't watched the last couple. Like he doesn't want it to end, so he won't watch it.
Yeah. But I mean, it was so because I saw the anime like when it came out, like in the what was it, late 80s, early 90s, and I dug it, right? And then I was like, I never read the manga, right? Because back then it wasn't that as easy to find manga as it is now. Now you go to any bookstore and it's
right.
Like you can get anything now. So like then that anniversary came out, the edition. I was like, all right, I'll get it. I'll get it and give it a go, and fucking blew my mind. I was like,
the cool thing about the anime, the manga for that is in the English, it's always been available oversized, which I think is great. You didn't have to get the small little tokubons of it, and then finally get the oversized. I really like that about the Akira. I kind of wish they'd do that more. That's why I like when they do the master editions of like really good mangas that I like. It's always really cool to get them oversized, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got all the Berserk volumes and stuff over here.
Berserk, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Oh shit.
Rest in peace.
I know, right?
But so tragic, yeah.
And one thing about a lot of the mangas, man, that I especially like Akira is the architecture and landscapes. The way they're drawn is just
beautiful,
mind blowing. Beautiful, yeah. Yeah, the technical drawing in a lot of these mangas is just top notch. It's off the wall. It's crazy. Sometimes the backgrounds are more beautiful than the main, like the characters and stuff in it. I'm like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, because a lot of times that's assistants doing that kind of work,
Yeah,
Like, they put their heart and soul into drawing these buildings, They give it their all.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the next thing on that I'd like to read is I'm trying to catch up on Adoro, so we can talk about it on the episode of Johnny there. Trying to catch up on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you want to get in on that, man, just let us know. I'll drop you a line when we do an episode on a manga one, and we'll put together a list.
Let me know what volumes you're doing, and I'll read up to there.
Well,
usually
talk about. We'll probably
usually do a couple.
Yeah, we'll do. If you're gonna do the. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, if you're gonna do the whole series, like, I better start reading now.
Oh no! I was gonna probably do like the first 6 or 8 books, kind of like what the anime covered, type of thing.
Okay.
Like the first kind of story arc where you find out like what's up with Mikado, and you kind of start understanding what's up with Kaiman's past a little bit, but that's a whole tangled web, which is really cool to get into.
So I read the first 2 volumes on like an airplane, and I didn't pick it up. And then I tried like a few weeks later, I tried to read like volume 3, and it was just so like lost in my mind what had happened. So I definitely have to go back and reread that stuff. I feel like it was pretty confusing, or maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely got a psychedelic edge to it, man. Like it definitely is pretty esoteric and weird, but I don't know.
Yeah,
once you get really into it, I think you could probably keep up pretty well. At least going off your writing,
on it.
I'm not kidding. Like there's some parallels, man. Like in a good way. Yeah. It kind of. You're like when I was reading your book, I'm like, yours is like you got like more Jodorowsky type stuff going on. Like I'm not kidding. Like I got really big Holy Mountain feels while I'm reading at least the middle part of the first Tales to Enlighten. So. But I don't know, like a lot of the just ultra violence and then like the kind of crudeness out of nowhere. Like there's quite a bit of that in Dorohedoro in the fun way, like it is in your book. So
cool.
That's true.
Yeah,
we didn't touch on that. It's got a very not safe for work element to your book that maybe we didn't we didn't mention. So if you're into that, then it's definitely worth buying. I mean,
that is probably something good to mention an hour into the podcast.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like people have already ordered it, but you know.
Well, it's
But I
about
mean,
the grandson of the devil trying to get 666 heads. That's already pretty
yeah,
brutal
yeah,
scenario.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Which leads to some great scenarios. So
This new project I'm working on is really like inspired by like the mid 1980s black and white stuff.
okay,
Like Damlog, and I'm reading a bunch of Aircell books like Stark Future, and I'm reading Maelstrom right now, and it's just like this stuff that could like really only exist then. It's like on the cheapest paper, and the drawing is just like gorgeous. It's just like these. I feel like they sat down at the beginning of the month with like a blank piece of paper and just like kind of stream of consciousness kind of stuff came out, but. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm really like reading right now. I'm also reading a bunch of eerie magazines from the 70s with the time traveling story, The Rook. I'm just like reading the Rook stories out of my issues right now, and it's like I try to read before I go to bed every night, but like I have like all this stuff. I'll never get to all of it, but I keep buying it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, the need
I
to
think
read
that's
pile.
everyone. That's
ever growing.
everyone, man. It's crazy.
So I do roofing for my job. So, but during the winter we don't really work, and I had this to read pile that was just ginormous, and I was sitting home every day for like 8 hours a day just reading. It was like the best, and the pile was like going down, down, down. And now I've been back to work, and the pile's like building back up.
Getting right back up. Yeah.
So disappointed.
Yeah.
But you know, my local comic shop guy probably loves me because I spend a bunch of money in there.
Yeah, same. I've cut back in the last year or so a bit, but yeah, because I'm fucking running out of room and I'm not reading half of what I'm buying, so I've really kind of slowed down. But I mean, you see something good, it's hard to pass it up, right? You see it and you're like, oh, I'll read it eventually. You know, you always find a way to justify it, right?
Like I said, I don't buy the monthly Marvel and DC. Like I'm buying that Clobbering Time right now from Steve
Oh, okay,
Scroce.
yeah.
I mean, that shit is gorgeous, but like basically I try to wait for stuff in trade paperbacks now because say an Image series, I just can't remember month to month like what happened. I don't know if it's, my brain is getting softer or what, but like so I would rather read a trade paperback of it, and then I fall into the trap of like if it's a ongoing series, do I just wait until all the trade paperbacks are out? It's like a real sickness, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Image books are like they're written like graphic novels, so like reading them in a trade is like reading them in their actual format, in my opinion, better than reading them month to month. But
I agree.
Because of the show, like I've kind of had to start buying floppies again, which is kind of dipping into my actual like enjoyment reading money.
Right. You guys do a lot of shows, so I mean, you got to be well versed, you know.
Yeah, I got to keep up with a lot of the hip stuff, which a lot of it is pretty cool still. You know what I mean? Like I know we kind of been a little negative on the kind of comic book landscape of recent, but there is so much good stuff still right now.
But hey, the news about IDW, damn.
What happened?
They laid off, was it 39% of their workforce, 40% of their workforce? They're off the stock market. They're restructuring. It's not looking good for now. Yeah.
Which to me, the most important thing they do is those artist editions. You know, in my opinion, you know, for what I want are those artist editions, and that's all IDW really means to me because I don't buy anything else. But
yeah,
it would be a shame for that to go away. You know.
Well, that's where Usagi Yojimbo comes out, man. Like
that's true. They're with them
Turtles.
Yeah. Turtles, yeah.
I hope they can go back to Dark Horse, maybe. Like, damn.
I think they lost.
All right.
I think they lost a lot of sales when GI Joe left, and they lost the license to that. And
Transformers as well. I think GI Joe and Transformers at the same time. I believe.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And they lost that Hasbro money. Damn, that's not.
They
good.
still have Little Pony. Is that still?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Are they gonna lose all the bronies, man? Jesus.
That'll keep the lights on.
But it's weird to see, even in the new previews catalog, to see Dark Horse in the back of the book. They don't even
Small,
they used to
without
always
like full color pages and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, they just like have a half a dozen like those very small solicits. It's weird.
It's true.
It's
Not too
like
many anymore have full color pages. I mean,
it's gonna be hard to sell like Hellboy books when you only got a 1-inch ad space. I don't know.
I don't know why. I haven't heard anything that Dark Horse is having a hard time. If anything, their books have been some of the better books coming out of late, like for all the newer stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Even I find Image has a lot less solicited each month as well.
Oh, really?
Like their section used to be a lot thicker, and now they've trimmed down. I find. I think everyone's trimmed back quite a bit.
I feel like the catalog itself is just as thick as ever, though. No, I feel like it's still a pretty thick book.
Yeah, still pretty thick, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
I honestly don't know how.
Maybe the manga's thicker. Maybe the manga section's thicker in it. I don't know.
Could very well be.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how I don't know how many books Scout is selling and stuff, but it just seems like when you go into my store, it just doesn't seem like, I don't know how people are making it, man. It's just a real medium where people have to love what they're doing, I think,
Yeah.
You're not going to get rich. I mean, chances are you're not going to get rich.
Everybody we know has a job, even people that have big published books, like have day jobs that we've talked to and know. So
right.
Yeah.
Oh, also like our boy EPHK we just had on Tuesday, and he said he's actually got kind of something in the pipeline with you.
No, cool. Actually because he thought we were talking about Patrick Kidlin.
Oh.
Yeah, he made a mistake. Yeah. So I was like, he got back to me, was it maybe an hour ago? He's like, wait, is it Patrick Kidlin on tonight? I was like, no, it's Matt King. He's like, oh shit, I got confused.
I don't know.
I thought it was Patrick. Yeah. He's like, no, he knows. He's like, oh, Matt King. Yeah. I like his stuff. He knows who you are. Yeah. He's like, I know his stuff. I like his stuff. So, yeah. So he was like, oh shit, I thought it was someone else, because we were talking about like who was coming up and stuff, and like, so he was like, yeah. So we have a few other, like I think Nick is on Tuesday. So I don't know if you've seen his new book. Did you back his book, the Axe Wielder John?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got him coming on Tuesday.
Oh, that's cool.
Talk about Axe Wielder. Yeah, that book's pretty fucking cool.
When's that coming out?
Man,
it's like I back these things and then like I never know when they're coming out.
I think within maybe a few months, because I think he sent it to the printers. He reopened the campaign so people can order copies on Zoop. That's pretty cool about Zoop. They like, when was that? That was almost a year ago.
It's got to be close anyways.
His campaign, and he just reopened it. I think it just closed. He opened it for 2 weeks to get more people to get back some more books, and they just closed it again. I think it was open for 2 weeks. So
that's nice. It's nice that you can do that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know Zoop did that, so that was kind of interesting to see.
I mean, with both of my books, what I did was they were like 100% complete when I ran the Kickstarter. So as soon as I got that money, I ordered this. The order was in. So
yeah.
So I didn't really have even if you can't do that with Kickstarter, reopen it anyways. But like with Zoop, you can. It's a nice little feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. Get some extra, get a few extra orders in there. Get boosted up just a little bit. Yeah. And you got he sent out a bunch of review copies and stuff. So I think he got a little extra buzz going just before sending it to the printer, maybe, or so I know it was complete. Yeah, he posted that everything was done, so It's all ready to go to the printers yet.
It looks beautiful, and that book will sell itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if he has a deal with a publisher yet, or if he's just going to say fuck it and just self-publish it. I have no idea.
I mean, it just depends what your kind of what your infrastructure is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His business is to draw. So like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, does he want to self-publish and pack everything and sell them all himself, or hire somebody, you know, one kid to do
Yeah.
it, or you know what I mean, or just
Yeah.
you know, a ton of people that would just rather just have the publisher do it. You know, my buddy Steve
Hmm.
McCardle, who does Red Bullet Comics, did the
Yeah.
Vendetta book. You
Okay.
know, he was happy to um, have Floating World take care of all that. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
like,
That's a good company too, though. So yeah, he landed well. He landed
yeah,
with.
absolutely, dude. Again,
Yeah. I
another
picked
one of
up
the
a
nicest
copy.
guys. Yeah.
I haven't gone. It's another one that's on my pile. I just haven't gotten around to reading it
Oh,
yet. But
it's so fun.
it has the red foil on the cover for the lettering and stuff. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked Steve if there was anything like that he could think of that would make that book any better, and he was like, "It's everything I've ever wanted." You know, the foil cover, everything. Because he never sold a piece of art. Like all that art he had, so he could rescan it, retouch it up. He did new. He would fix some dialogue that sounded clunky, like on the board. You know, all this stuff is done on the board,
Mm.
and it's like. Yeah, he's super proud of that book. And my point was that he didn't want to handle shipping out all the books
No.
himself or doing
Yeah.
a Kickstarter or whatever. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's a super cool dude. We went up to a show in New Hampshire a couple weekends ago and hung out. And I know
Uh.
he's working on a new issue. So,
Oh, cool.
Who'd you see?
up in New Hampshire, the New Hampshire show is basically it's a curated vendors show. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
the whole arena is just long boxes everywhere. And
Okay.
Oh,
and
damn.
it's all great prices because it's like New Hampshire and not Boston. So I think it's called Little Giant Old School Comic Con or something like that. But
Okay.
he has like a dozen tables for artists, and then everything else is just wall books or long boxes or just like so much stuff, dude. I had a
Like
blast.
like old school conventions. No celebrities,
Exactly.
just fucking comics and artists,
No,
man.
I think he had. I think Jim Starlin was there, but he was like um, the only kind of name celebrity. Everybody else was like a local artist of the other dozen tables, and then
Yeah.
just everything else was just. And then the weekend after, which was last weekend, we went to. I went with another buddy to Wicked Con, which used to be the Boston Comic Con,
Mm.
but and that was like a totally different. Like prices were so high for back issues and stuff, so I was so glad I went the weekend before to the other show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bought like a bunch of Eerie magazines and old Marvel like Planet of the Apes magazines and stuff.
Cool.
Had a blast. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Speaking of conventions, are you thinking of going to any conventions, sell your books, or
Nah,
nah?
absolutely not. Nah,
No.
nah. It's like, oh yeah, here's a book with Jesus with his fire breathing mutant dick out, and also it weighs 4 pounds a piece, and I'm gonna lug these around. I'm just not
Yeah.
interested. If
No.
I
Yeah.
always say if I did one show, you know, Heroes Con sounds pretty cool. I've never been,
Hmm.
but it seems like there's a real great indie vibe there, and
Okay.
I feel like if I was gonna do a show, that would be like the one I would do. But
Yeah.
I
I
can't.
think Schlepsig goes to that one. I think. Eh?
He did last year. I know
He did
for
last
sure.
year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I kind of made a list of who was there that to represent Tales
Okay.
to
Yeah.
Enlighten and gave him like a bunch of postcards and stuff. I think,
Oh, that's cool.
Tony Sedani was there. Chris Anderson, I think, was there. Schlepsig. There was Marcus Cripps, who lives around
Okay.
there. He did the wrestling
Okay.
story in the second book.
Yeah, that was a great story. I love
Yeah.
the nod to the cartoonist kayfabe in that one as well.
Yeah, he has
That's pretty funny.
Ed Pis-
Yeah, I was like, that looks like Ed, man. I was like, then I saw I didn't catch it right away because they had like the little logo with the CK. Then when the ref, I was like, that's them. It's fucking Jim Rugg, man. I was like, it's definitely them. At first, I was like, is it? I was like, is it just coincidence? Then when I saw like the ref was Jim Rugg, I was like, yeah. Then it hit me the CK. I was like, ah, fuck, it's definitely them.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that was Marcus's idea to throw those guys in there. I was like, yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah, that was fun. I love that. That was great. Yeah. And
yeah,
I love the style. his style was perfect for the wrestling one too. Yeah, that
He's
was
a
a
big
great story.
and he's literally like a big fan of wrestling. So
Okay.
again, going back to collaborations, it's like giving this kid something that he enjoys to draw. I mean, you always get better work when the artist is enjoying what they draw. Like literally.
Yeah.
So I went up to we went to WickedCon in Boston last weekend, and my buddy has like a sketchbook where he gets commissions, and he brings it around, and I always tell him he's cracked the code on how to get good commissions. He goes to an artist that he really likes, and he says, "Hey, will you draw something?" And they're like, "Yeah, what do you want me to draw?" And then he gives them he shows him his phone, and he has a list of like 50 different villains or something, and you see the artist scrolling through it, and he goes, oh, you know what I mean? And it's like they pick out something. They're like, "This is the coolest idea of this list." It's like, I want to do this character, and
Yeah,
they,
it's something they want to draw, so they like,
exactly. And they'll add
yeah,
flourishes, they'll add color to it for nothing or whatever. Like they really go all
yeah,
out to make it good, So that's the
yeah.
same thing with Marcus in this wrestling story. It's like he loves wrestling. So when he wanted to work together, I'm like, well, let's do a wrestling story.
Nice.
Of
Awesome.
course, he's like a young kid who knows new wrestling, and I'm like talking about the Von Erichs from like the 80s and shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched wrestling in forever, man, since
Same.
like the 90s. So
Same.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like the Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. He's like, huh?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Man, I just wanted to say, well, I know you're not strapped for time anymore because you're going to get rained out tomorrow. But yeah, man, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on. Tales to Enlighten, fantastic book, people. Link is down in the descriptions on the Etsy shop. Go on. It's King Mega Trip is the name of your Etsy shop. Go on there. Volume 1 and 2 is available. You have some zines and process books on there as well. I think you have some bookmarks. You have a regular and a metallic, I think.
We got 3 different metallic bookmarks left over from the Kickstarter, just whatever's like kind of leftover stock. So once it's gone, it's gone. But they're pretty cool. It's got artwork from Daniel White, or Flops Comics did one. Andrew Buck did one. You
had that poster as well that the bookmark is based on. Which artist was that?
I probably
with all the faces. That was
like the background that we're using right now. That one.
No.
No. That's I know what you're talking about. All the severed heads. That's Daniel.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah. That's a great one. That's a great piece. I love that one. That's one of my favorite pinups.
Dude, I've said this already. I knew I was going to say this a bunch, but again, the nicest guy. I reached out to him for the first book. He gave me. I commissioned a couple pinups. He told the 11 o'clock comics guys about the book. They all bought it. They told all their fans and shit. It was very nice. And then for the second book, I wanted to pay him to do another commission, and he just did it for nothing. He gave me the artwork. He like gifted. I sold that in the campaign. Like I made.
That was one I looked into it. I was like, oh, but someone already snagged it up. So I saw that and I was like, ooh, that's nice. I wouldn't mind having that. When I went and looked at it, it was already snagged. I was like, oh, damn it.
That went fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it did, eh? Yeah. It's a good piece, man. It's a great piece. Yeah. So yeah, you have that bookmark with his art on it. It's pretty cool.
So like I said, the zines and the bookmarks are just kind of leftover stock from Kickstarter, whatever's, I have like a couple dozen of each of those things. Then I got book 1 and 2, also the digital copies and some zines. Yeah. So yeah, guys, thanks for having me on, man. I mean, I really appreciate it.
Oh, we've been talking about it for a while, and then you finally said, yeah, I'll come on. I was like, nice. And we get to talk about your book, because I was thinking of doing we have another little segment where we just do like quick reviews of books and stuff, and I was like, oh, we could do that. But then when you agreed to come on, I was like, oh no, now we can hold off because we're gonna actually have you on, so we can talk about the book and shoot the shit and stuff, and yeah, so that was pretty cool, man. Yeah.
Do you want to shout out your socials too, so people know where to find you online?
Yeah, sure. My personal Instagram is KingMegatrip23. That's basically I just take photos of what I'm reading currently, like a panel here and there. And then I also have the Tales to Enlighten Instagram account, which is I haven't posted much on it lately. I got totally burned out after all these Kickstarters and shipping the books, but like I was posting every day, and I got to get back to that to just kind of show off. There's so much cool artwork that I'd like to show off and stuff. So, but that's where people can find. I mean, I'm on Facebook too under Matt King, but I mean, I'm like the old man of Facebook still. Like, I don't know if anybody else uses that shit, but I don't do no Twitter or anything. So just on Instagram, King Megatroop 23 and Tales to Enlighten on Instagram.
Yeah. All right. So, Sequential got in late. I don't know if he was listening all the way through, but hey, what's up, Sequential? Yeah, man. So go buy the book. You won't regret it. It's fantastic. Pick it up, whether physical or digital, man. It's a great read either way. So yeah, man. This was Matt King we were talking about Tales to Enlighten. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Anyone who does the rewatch, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Man, so I don't know. You want to sign us out, Johnny?
Yeah. Like Joey said, on Tuesday, we're going to have Nick Patera on. We're going to talk to him about his upcoming, or his book that he's done. It's not out yet, but he has done the crowdfunding thing for it, Axe Wielder Joe, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So until then, we'll see you guys later. Take it easy.
Have a great weekend, everyone.